Hey guys, Justin here with another data dive. I figured today we would look at AMD after its big moves yesterday. So let's get started. Here's AMD. We have it for the third. This is the VoEx graph. If you're not too familiar with the VoEx graph, that's okay. The main takeaways are when VoEx is below the bottom horizontal line or the propagation line, it's unstable. When VoEx is above this top horizontal line or the inhibition line, things are unstable. For more information, I have tons of material on my website. Some would argue too much material, but I like writing. I like data. So some of the more notable features on VoEx is that it fell into the propagation zone in January. Now, typically when a stock's VoEx falls in the propagation zone, it's indicative of future negative returns. The idea is that as the price is declining, if the stock becomes so unstable, the price will start to get propagated. So we see it again here in February of 2021. We see it here again in April 2021. So as soon as VoEx dips into the propagation zone, the price tends to fall until VoEx resolves. So again, we see it in January of 2022 as well. And the price did indeed fall quite substantially. Recently, however, VoEx has been climbing back into stability. So the question really today is, did this large movement in price disrupt VoEx's journey back into stability? And that's what we should try to find out here. Because like I said, it started climbing and the price started leveling out, but today was a pretty big move. And if we skip ahead a little bit, just in terms of how big was today's move, we can go to the expected price range graph and we see that today the movement on AMD was about plus or minus 2.75%. That's what the market would have considered a reasonable move. Clearly we moved 7.71%, so a little bit more than the market was expecting. So let's see how that affected things. So unfortunately for AMD, the snap graphs here are all negative. So the crosshairs are all in the negative quadrants. So this is the 1 trading day, so that would be today or the second. This is 5 days or 1 trading week, 10 days or 2 weeks, and then 20 days or 1 month. And the snap graphs are based off of the way that VoEx is changing. So we see that the recent VoEx behavior over the 1 day, 5 day, 10 day, and 20 trading days is indicative of negative returns. So that's a little concerning. In terms of the expected price range, so the solid line here is the price, the dashed line is the market's expectations, and we see that the price did indeed move outside of the market's expectations today. But visually, maybe not too, AMD has definitely done it before. So I would say, is AMD like a well-behaved stock? Not really. It peaks out of these zones pretty often. So it kind of a little bit diminishes the significance of today's big move, at least in my head. And we notice too, typically when the price moves out beyond the lower boundary, it typically will mean revert back up to kind of put itself back inside of that channel. So today, is it unreasonable that the price would kind of mean revert back up? No, but we have to make sure that nothing is drastically pushing it down, right? The other interesting thing is the volatility on AMD recently has been pretty erratic. So we see that here in December and January, volatility kind of just oscillates, right? And then all of a sudden it just kind of, I don't know, it feels like it gets a little choppy. So maybe we can find a reason for that can point us towards AMD's overall stability. If we move to the shorting, AMD for some reason has just had this persistently escalating shorting behavior. So this short ratio is just the ratio of shorting to the ratio of traded volume in the lit exchange. It doesn't include dark exchange transactions. And we see since at least April 2021, just a steady increase in shorting on AMD, which is pretty interesting. So if we go back up to the price, did I say April? December. So in December, as the stock has been falling, shorting has been increasing. And this is probably because AMD's been just battling this persistent gamma squeeze, as we'll see in a minute. The options layout for AMD is actually pretty healthy. There's a reasonably normal distribution of calls, a nice skew on the puts, a little bit of calls are in the money, as long as these aren't too much dealer long puts that are in the money, we should be pretty good. Today's big drop in price did see quite a number of calls open up, a reasonable number of puts opening up near the strike. I wonder if those calls were, we opened at 123, so yeah, these calls were always out of the money when they were open today. So reasonable options layout, healthy amount of calls opened up. Probably more puts would have been nice, but we'll see. The delta on the stock, so unfortunately this movement or these options that opened up did put AMD back into a gamma squeeze, and we see that for the past month it has in fact been in a gamma squeeze. So it's probably why vol has been pretty high. That's probably why shorting is going up, because as the price decreases, hedging must, in order to satisfy all the options on the field, the hedging is in the selling direction. So typically you'll see like the hedging is, any selling requirements are typically fulfilled via shorting. So I bet if we went back and looked at the delta in like back starting in December, we would start seeing that as this delta progressively got more and more negative, the selling requirements through the hedging matrix got more and more intense, and so that would coincide with the shorting behavior. The options seem reasonable. As long as honestly, these are the ones that I look at the most. The out of the money long puts and the in the money long puts. As long as those percentages aren't too big, I consider things okay. The expected price range today is 3.10, so the upper band would be 117 or 110. I wouldn't be too surprised if it tries to make its way back to 110. Overall, it's not unreasonable, I think, for such a big movement. VoEx didn't like fall off the face of the earth. This is a pretty somewhat significant like downturn, but VoEx trend is headed towards stability. When a stock's regaining stability, it tends to have like a rocky road as it's doing it, right? So because technically VoEx is still in the propagation zone, so the stock is still unstable. So you can be gaining stability, but if you're still unstable, you're still unstable. The snap graphs are slightly concerning, right? For all negative returns indicated, volatility is kind of going a little wild. I think this shorting is due to the hedging matrix, the gamma squeeze that AMD's in right now. The options layout is healthy. It has a good amount of puts. They seem to be of the right kind, so they seem to be dealer short puts, which are pretty nice and stabilizing. And other than this gamma squeeze, it is kind of worse than the average too. So that's the data. Personally, I have my opinions. I think near term it's going to be pretty rocky, but I think VoEx is pretty clear that stability is returning. So that's how I plan on playing that. And that is a deep dive stocks report. If you liked it, or if you found this data to be useful, I have tons of material on the website. Go check it out. I also have a Dropbox that every day 5 randomly selected stocks are put right into the Dropbox. I'll drop the link below in the description. And if you guys like the video, let me know. I would love to keep making them, but if they need a change to help you guys out more, I'll change them. So good morning and happy trading, guys. Bye.